Hey everyone, and welcome to the 82nd episode of We're All in the Same Boat. I'm your host, Luke Roxwold, and today I am here with Shayne.
Hola.
Michael.
What's up?
And Nick.
Hey.
And as always, you can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. And if you really want to be a good fan, you can follow us on Instagram at We're All in the Same Goat. Oh, same goat. Oof. We're all in the same goat, guys.
Oof. Miff piff.
Dude, if we all bought a goat together, I'd be down. You could buy a cow.
What are you saying?
Stop. We could all be on the same goat.
In the same goat. Okay, that's a little weird.
Not on. Like we ride the goat. You can ride the goat together.
Stop. This has gotten too real. So, you can follow our Instagram at WAITSB Podcast. That's We're All in the Same Boat Podcast. You can message us, like our photos, keep up to date with the latest podcast topics. It's a great way to be a good fan. Or you can go to the iTunes app, scroll all the way to the bottom, hit 5 stars. You don't even have to log in.
Get your life together, Luke.
Yeah, I should start writing this down.
I'm surprised you haven't yet.
Make a script. That's what I do.
But this is so much more
Made
fun.
my
Welcome
life
to the
so much
podcast, everyone.
Everyone. Ooh, jinx.
You owe me a
can't
Coke.
now you can't talk until someone says your name.
Foreshadowing.
Hey-o.
Ooh, good one.
I know how to do this.
So, to start out this episode, we had a good little friendly debate between me and Nick, and obviously Shayne and Michael kind of joined in. I was friendly.
I thought I was very
a friend.
friendly.
I was nice.
You're
Nick
okay.
was mean.
I wasn't mean.
But it was fine, and we ended on good terms. We didn't kill each other, so that's good. But the debate, for some reason, was passed off from Nick to Michael.
Yeah,
and
I kept
Michael,
thinking about it, and I was like, man,
Michael didn't let it
Luke
go.
is so wrong. I need to tell him. And I came up with more reasons.
Yeah,
I respect,
so,
I respect that.
So Michael posts on his Instagram story his rebuttal or pushback defending Nick's argument. And then I argued back, and then everyone agreed with Michael, and so we're on the podcast to clarify a few things.
Luke, can you say again whose argument he was defending? Can you say it again for me? I didn't hear that. Can you say it again? Sorry.
Yours. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're off the podcast. Go away. I should have said your mom's.
He just wants attention.
That's so true. Oh my gosh.
All right. So this argument is about Birdman, and I made the claim that actually
I don't think the argument is about Birdman.
Michael, why don't you say
I think it's
what the argument is? Because I think what I'm saying is getting kind of twisted into being something that I'm not really saying.
Well, I mean,
I
honestly,
kind of think it is, though.
Honestly, dude, literally, like I said this because halfway through our argument throughout the week, I didn't even know what you believed in anymore. I don't even know where we are. Maybe me. I'll describe it, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Here's what I'll do. There's certain people that I know when I'm talking to them and I'm telling them, wait, I think you mean this. If they're annoyed at me, they will always say no. Even if I 100% say exactly what they thought, they'll just be like, no, you're wrong. And this is why. And like, so say the argument so I can tell you you're wrong.
All right, cool. So Luke somehow Birdman, the movie, maybe not even, I don't know. Somehow this movie came up yesterday or last week. Unless you listened to the second podcast yesterday, then it's yesterday. Anyway,
stop.
And he was like, I don't think that Birdman's soundtrack is that impressive. It's just like one dude improvising on drums. It's not as impressive as if somebody like wrote a huge score and like had hundreds of musicians playing on it, and that's more complicated and more goes into it. So that's more impressive to me. And Nick was just like, "No, you're stupid. I hate you. Samoans are the best.
That's honestly
you're
a great
the worst."
summary of what I'm response was.
Yeah.
Which was the wrong way to go about it. You should not have attacked him.
Yeah, Nick.
That's the only way I can know how to
I feel
express
like I
myself.
handled the
have
situation
done
the
that.
best.
Oh no, I acknowledge that, but that's the only way I know how to express myself.
This is the most nice I've ever heard Shayne ever. Ever.
True.
Like, I just was noticing that. And Shayne's been very pleasant. This whole debate. He's like, now that wasn't very nice. Why don't you say it to him again, but in a nicer way? I'm like, Shayne. And then Shayne was like, now let me talk about my students. They're so stupid and lame.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
90s people, am I right? Like,
I think
My
Shayne has
my
like
job gets all of my anger.
Shayne only has so much anger he can throw around. Like, he usually just kind of he likes to just mess around and be fake angry, but when he's actually angry, he doesn't have enough angry energy to spread around.
So Shayne's actually really angry right now.
So he's
Maybe,
like the
but
Hulk.
He can't.
I'm
feel
not
it or
angry
express it
at all
now.
right now, actually.
I'm
If
just
he was though, he
disappointed.
wouldn't. If he was angry, he wouldn't be able to feel it because he's already used it all.
Okay, so continue the explanation of the debate.
So I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I should ask the internet what they think about Luke's dumb ideas. And so I like
Hey,
being on
That's always
Instagram.
what you do.
Hey.
Ask the internet.
There you go.
Just kidding. So I went on the internet, and I was like, hey, guys, my friend Luke seems to think, and I just explained what I just explained. What do you think? I don't think music can be objectively compared between the two, especially different styles of music. They can't be compared using the same rules. So, yeah,
It's hard with art for sure. I would
like
say.
art is super subjective,
Art
and music
music.
has so many things that go into it.
Yeah.
So basically, what I was trying to say is, just because a song is more technically complex than another song does not mean it's automatically better or more impressive. It might be, it can be, it probably is a lot of times, but it doesn't necessarily mean that objectively it is better.
You could say behind the scenes it's more impressive though, and I think
Like-
that's what I
What?
and Luke, correct me
So
if I'm
I
wrong.
think-
that's
I think
What
this
does that
argument
mean? What do you
applies to
mean
everything
behind
but
the
music.
scenes? Isn't what I'm doing being behind the scenes, sort of?
Yeah, but not like the song
talking
itself
about-
isn't more impressive.
right.
Just
We're
process
talking
was.
about we're talking about
product.
the effect of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
itself.
like here's what I'm saying. Like I will clarify that argument a little bit. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
you're wrong, Michael. Wrong. No.
Clarify
no.
my argument.
That's not
Now
what I
you're
said.
wrong.
No.
Yeah, as soon as
So-
you said that makes all sense now. Now I get it. Okay.
Okay. Now Nick's like
now
oh, that's
I'm
true.
on Luke's page.
No, okay.
Dang it, Luke, that
So
was good.
Doesn't like Samoas, dude. Get the heck out of here.
I don't dislike
the
Samoas.
premise
Well, I do,
of
but
this
anyway.
debate was started out that Birdman's soundtrack should be held above other soundtracks. That it's way better and more impressive than all of the other soundtracks. Like top of the line should be recognized as being one of the
Which
better
I will say-
soundtracks. And
think
it's like
Nick even said that.
I don't think
which
that
I will
that's true.
say, I don't agree with that. I don't know who made that statement, but I don't agree with that statement.
I don't know
'Cause when
what
I
I
say it's
said
impressive,
because
That's
okay,
an objective musical statement, and I can't go along with those.
Exactly.
Wait, so you don't agree with wait. So like I'm
I don't
saying
think that was the
it
premise I said,
objectively is
but-
not as impressive as other soundtracks is what I've said since the beginning.
I mean, it's objectively not as
That's
good
not.
as some,
that's
but
not what
it's
you
not-
just said.
It's not
in
less
that
good
first
than all.
sentence.
I'm pretty sure
Yes,
I
it
said
is. What do
it
you
was
mean,
a great.
Shayne?
No, it's
I
not.
thought the score was
you
great.
said, okay, look, you said that the
Fight.
Birdman
Fight.
You said-
soundtrack or the Birdman score should be held higher than all other scores, right? I said I don't agree with that because I don't think that the score is better than all the other scores in the world, right? But what I've been saying since the beginning of this argument or this discussion or whatever is that why I don't think it's the best, I don't think it's more or less impressive than Interstellar or something. That's one of my favorite scores of like current movie time. And I say that because one person to me, regardless of what you think about it, one person to me scoring an entire film is just as impressive, or is still impressive to me, as someone composing something for 100 musicians, because I'm impressed that, wow, this guy can do this one whole movie by himself. And then I'm impressed by, wow, this one person can, write a piece for 100 musicians to play and have it all flow and sound
Yes, but
nice
that's
why you're
together.
mad.
But that's not true though, because if you think about it, if you have one musician has to
but
play
Luke,
one
no, I'm
instrument
not done.
well. And
But
when
Luke,
you
I'm
have a
not done.
ton of Shayne, you're going for a while.
But it's still just a bunch of musicians all just playing one instrument well.
I know. So
Yeah,
instead of
but
having one
just-
instrument played well, you have a whole bunch of instruments played well. Which do you think is
And
more
Luke,
difficult?
and what I said to you is that that's your opinion, because this is so subjective to whoever is listening
How-
to it, because
okay.
different
Wait,
things.
wait.
No, because Luke,
How do-
listen,
how is this keep
different
getting
things,
twisted into
because
my
different
opinion?
things. It's not. No,
Well,
I'm.
of course it's your opinion.
I'm
saying my
saying
opinion
it's
too.
your opinion.
No,
that
I'm not saying it's
this
not like
score-
it's just. It's not like
Luke,
I
listen,
like.
You're
Hold
not
on,
even hearing my
hold on,
point because you're not
hold on.
letting me speak. Let me say what I have to say before you cut me off because you think you know what I'm going to say.
Okay,
and you
but
don't.
Shayne, hold up, though. No,
Let me say my sentence, Luke.
say your sentence.
Thank you. So I'm saying it's your opinion because you think that this score is more impressive because of this reason. Someone else might think, like Nick, who thinks the Birdman score is more impressive because he's impressed that one drummer did this thing. Because that Nick comes from a drumming background, so that's what impresses him. You come from a film background where you've heard all of these wondrous and amazing scores. You are going to think that's more impressive. It's too subjective on the people listening because that's what music and the sounds that we hear are. So I'm saying, while I hear you and I understand and I agree, like I'm not saying you're wrong, you're right to think that's more impressive. I just kept saying people just don't agree with you, and there's nothing wrong.
I've been trying to explain.
Because it's not a fact; it's an opinion.
Stop, Shayne. Let me say something now. Okay.
Go.
If you like things about opinions, when people say that's just your opinion, there's two different things. So one would be like, it is my opinion that the sunset is prettier than when the sun is straight up in the air and the sky is blue. I like it better when the sky is red than when the sky is blue. That's an opinion. And someone can't go up to you and go, "No, you don't think that. That's not true." It's like, "No, it's my opinion. I like it more." You can't tell me what my opinion is.
Right.
But if the sky is blue and they go, "It's my opinion the sky is red," it's like, well, you're wrong. Even though that's your opinion is wrong.
Right.
Right? So you can have an opinion that is objectively wrong.
Correct.
Okay? So when it comes to these scores, if Nick's opinion was, I like the way the Birdman soundtrack makes me feel more than the way the Interstellar soundtrack makes me feel, that's fine. I'm talking about which one is objectively more impressive at like a technical level. Like I don't think.
Okay.
I think it would be. Hold on, let me finish. I think it would be easier to record the Birdman soundtrack. I think it would be easier to write. I think it would be cheaper to write. It'd be easier to redo. It's like all the things about it make it just easier. And so I'm looking at it going, it's less impressive to me because on almost every single front, it is easier than any other soundtrack for most movies that come out.
Okay. I want to say a couple of short things. There's like three things all short. One, on an individual level, it is actually easier to play with a band than by yourself a lot of times because you are able to get the timing based on people you're around, the groove, like the feeling. Like it's easier to follow along with a song if you're playing with other people and reading sheet music. Whereas if you're playing drums by yourself, it's not as easy to stay on time. It doesn't matter as much, but it's almost the same or easier to play with a band than to not. Because you're doing the same amount of work anyway. Maybe it's just two things. And the other thing is like, yeah, you can be more impressed by the process, but the product is almost like you interpret the product separate from the process. Like if you and somebody else are both doing the same job, and you do it in half an hour, the other guy does it in an hour because he does it a harder way, the boss isn't going to be like, "Oh yeah, that was much more impressive how you did that for an hour when he did it for half an hour." It's like, no, it's like the product is still the same.
But I mean, how do you measure the quality of something? You can always bring up the artistic side.
You think you can't. It's subjective.
You
so
can
a
a
example
little,
right
no,
here.
but you can measure the quality in some ways.
You can. So speaking of that, all right. So I have two recordings here that I want to play of music. So this right here is Champagne by Polyphia. This is a super technical band. This is one of their guitar solos.
Actually, really quick, can you pause it for 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to say for the listener.
Oh, actually.
I realized we didn't clarify this. The things that we're comparing, the movie Birdman, if you haven't seen it, has the soundtrack is a drummer. It's like one guy, like a drummer that plays different films, and it kind of goes along with the picture, and the whole soundtrack is just a drum. So it's like this kind of artsy-fartsy kind of thing, and I just don't think that deserves more recognition than other soundtracks because I think it would be a lot easier. All things overall, I think it'd be easier.
Maybe. Even if it's easier, though, the quality can still be better. So check this out. So this is Polyphia. They're playing a super dope guitar solo, one of my favorite songs. Hold on. Get it faster a second. One of my favorite solos of all time. That's Polyphia.
Yeah, it sounds great.
super technical, super cool. But also this is B.B. King, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. So those are two very different guitar solos. Both you can judge by technical skill, but they're both totally different styles. Like, maybe like Luke could say that like Polyphia's solo was a lot more impressive, but they're also not being as like melodic and soulful as B.B. King was, right?
Yes.
Objectively, like one's faster, but you can say like, oh, like just because these guys are faster, they're more skilled. I'm sure all the guitarists in Polyphia would agree that B.B. King is like at least, if not better than them.
So this is all measuring the way people feel around the music, which goes back into what I said, where if Nick said...
No, he just mentioned
drummer,
about technical skill. He didn't mention about people feeling the music,
so like,
which is what you're...
Well, that's my point, Luke.
What are you saying then?
Because Luke, this is from what Luke said before, when you said based on technical like merit, and this is just from what I've heard and what I've read in conversation. I don't think I've never seen you say the word technical. And then I had asked you before, if you're talking like something technical, you need to say on what things you're listing it off of, because you can compare music on a technical, like you can pull out a piece of paper, like these are the categories we're judging on the music, but I think you shouldn't be using for your argument's sake, I don't think you should be using the word impressive, because one can be technically better, sure, but that doesn't necessarily make it more impressive to someone. Just because it's
I don't
technically
think that,
better.
Like,
you can't judge music just on technicality.
The emotion, yeah. I mean, I'm not judging it solely on that. I'm just saying that, like, I don't consider impressive to be an emotional connection with music.
Whereas music is supposed to emote an emotion from the listener.
Hold on. Yeah, I mean I'm not saying that's not true either. You know, if someone showed me a Green Day song,
it's not impressive that the song is doing its job. Because he's not making sense.
Let him keep explaining, or else we're gonna be here all day.
Shayne, I'm right. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so
that's why.
If I showed you a Green Day song, and then I showed you a Rush song, I would expect different people to like both songs. Some people don't like either. Some people like one or the other, you know? Like sometimes I'd rather listen to a Green Day song than a Rush song, even though a Rush song is more technically difficult, I think. Like the writing is difficult. The time signatures are weird. It's just like very different type of style music, but it's like progressive rock. So if I compare those two bands, one I think is technically more difficult to play, Rush. However, I might really enjoy Green Day more because I like the feeling it gives me. I like the way they play live. It's exciting and it's fun, and I like singing their songs more. And so it comes down to which one's more impressive. It's like, well, which one do more people like or whatever. That's one thing. But I'm talking about okay, here's a good example, okay? Let's say we had someone play this really impressive guitar solo, like the one you showed us earlier, Mike. And then I play you another guitar solo, which is basically Smoke on the Water, and it's just like the three, the regular notes that everyone knows how to play, but the single notes, that's it, that's the solo. You'd be like, which one is more impressive? I would say the faster one, because that one's definitely more difficult, and so I'm impressed by people doing difficult things. Right. What if I told you then that the second song, the one that was Smoke on the Water, was played by a guy with no arms? Oh, now all of a sudden, it's a lot more impressive because it was really difficult to do. So it doesn't matter about the music? No, it matters about what's impressive and what's difficult. And so that's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah,
so I'm not going to hold... I'll finish up. Sorry, one thing. So I'm not going to hold one above the other just because people say it's more impressive. I'm going to look at them objectively and say, I think that's way more difficult. I think that should be recognized more. I don't think just because this one's different and artsy, it's still easier. And I'm less impressed by it.
So that makes a lot more sense than everything you've been saying in the past.
Question then, Luke. Why is it an issue if someone finds the one with the old man or with the no arm guy playing more impressive?
What do you mean?
As in, like, you think the technical one is more impressive than the one when the old man I keep saying old man, the man with no hands.
He might be old and has no arms.
What I say, because you, from this argument that I'm getting, you have an issue with someone having the other thing being impressive. What's wrong with someone thinking the other thing is more impressive than the other one?
I'm not following. I mean, I'm saying that the
so
guy.
Lucas says that the guy playing with no arms is more impressive than this.
I feel like I'm being pretty clear.
You like stopped like 8 times. But anyway, like
whatever.
I don't know. It's fine. But what makes it like, all right, what makes the guy with no arms playing it so much more impressive to you? Or why is someone wrong for thinking that Polyphia is more impressive than the guy with no arms then?
I just think that one takes more skill, more practice.
You think? I know. I'm saying.
So I want to say something, because I think that makes sense. Like what you're saying now, Luke, which I don't think I've understood from you the whole time. That makes sense. But also, that's also saying that the process is more impressive. It still doesn't make the song more impressive.
Yeah, because I'm not comparing the song that the drummer wrote with the song that someone else wrote. I'm comparing like the amount of effort it took.
Right.
And
but
so
effort does not directly translate over to impressiveness. Because someone can put a lot of effort into something and it still sucks.
I know, but if someone said, I like the way it looks when someone does a handstand with 2 hands, and then this person said, yeah, but that person's doing a handstand with 1 finger, it'd be like, well, I like the way it looks better with 2 hands, so what are you saying? That it's objective? It's like, yeah, but one is more difficult. One is objectively more difficult. And
but the thing is, though, that applies perfectly to handstands, but not to music.
I think that the music that they play in most soundtracks is objectively more difficult to do than Birdman.
But what if it sucks, though? A lot of music soundtracks are just forgettable.
I mean, sure. I didn't say it was better music. I think it's more difficult.
I felt like that's what you were saying before. And I clarified a bunch of times. That's what I felt like you were saying.
I don't think I meant that.
I said that in my story, and I asked you if I said it right, and then you said, yep.
If I recall correctly, I thought the argument was that Birdman... Well, maybe the problem is with the word impressive.
It's difficult for me to explain it.
I don't think you should be using the word impressive.
I'm going to try one more time to explain it.
Maybe more technical would be. I think Shayne might be right on that.
That Birdman's score should not be held up as high as it is, because I don't think it's really, all things considered, that good compared to other ones.
Okay.
On what merit? Why?
Yeah, held
what
up.
Merits, tell me this.
Tell
me this. Tell me this. What merits? Listen, hold on. What merits can I use?
To explain your point and have it make sense to people.
No, you tell me what I can use. What merits? What merits do you measure songs?
No, you have to say is, I don't think Birdman should be held as high as other scores because it is not as technically difficult to play as other scores. That's all you have to say, and then it makes sense.
That's not just it. There's lots of reasons, but one of them is like,
but that's kind of your main point.
The editing is easier. The organization is easier. It's one person improvising, so you don't have to have 100 instruments get things right. You need one person to get things right. It's like the recording process is easier. The miking process is easier. You can do it in a tiny little studio. You don't record it in a giant orchestra area and have to hire a whole bunch of musicians. You don't have to like write a bunch of different scores. You just have one person improvising. It's like all of it is so much easier than every other film.
I mean, I don't know if you can use that necessarily. You can, but I don't think that's too strong of a point because you don't know the difficulty. It can still be there with a one-man recording process as it can be. So then I'm just saying I personally don't think that is a good point in the argument.
It's also, Luke, I will
your
say
original
that
point that you made before makes sense.
Yeah. What?
So Luke,
which is what I said earlier in the Facebook chat.
Shayne,
so here's the thing
right,
also.
Okay.
Luke, listen.
No, you're not right. It just makes sense.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to say you're right, Luke. Listen to me.
What, Michael? What are you saying?
All right, Luke. So you're right. Like, I think you can compare two, like, scores that are like the same kind and compare the technicalness. Yeah, sure. And decide which one's more technical, and if that's what impresses you, then yeah. But a song being more complicated or being harder to like put together does not make it a objectively better song than another song that's less technical.
I the argument keeps getting turned into that, and it's like I don't know how to make it.
That's what I've been talking to you about this whole time. And you haven't.
I
feel like that's what you're saying.
I keep trying to clarify that I'm not saying that one is.
all the
If a song is more difficult to
evidence,
play, on average, it is a more difficult song to play. Period. So if a
Yes,
song is
that's
more
true.
difficult
That's
to
literally
play,
true.
because it's a more difficult song to play, I can be more impressive with it regardless of what music it is. Because it's more
Sure.
difficult.
You
People
can,
do
but also-
difficult things, it's impressive. I
point
don't
I'm
know
trying to
how to
make,
explain
though-
that any more than that.
My point I'm trying to make
And
is like writing a simple, like, super catchy, super inspiring melody can be more inspiring and harder than playing a fast solo. Like, I can play fast solos really easily. It's not difficult. Like, it is not that like guitar solos aren't difficult. It takes a lot of skill, lots of practice, blah yada yada. People who are better than me, it's not super easy. But it's way harder for me to write a catchy like hook than it is for me to shred a solo. I can shred a solo like with like 4 minutes of preparation.
Okay, yes.
Writing a catchy
Like,
hook
and let me
takes me
say-
a
I
year.
get your
Luke,
point, and you're right.
let me
Hold
say
on, I have
this.
one really good comeback. Okay, so you're right. Yes, it can be harder to write like a catchy melody, harder to do that than it is to play Dragon Force super fast, whatever, right? Because coming up with that original melody that everyone remembers is much more difficult. Now, make 2 songs. They're both have original melodies, and they're both super catchy, and they're both beautiful. And one has a whole bunch of different instruments with a bunch of good melodies and rhythms and stuff that all work together, and one is one melody. Because that's what we're talking about here.
But the thing is, in music, it's too broad because sometimes it's more impressive that he lets one melody sit out there than having
Yes,
separate
Luke,
melodies.
this is why I'm saying
'Cause-
you should not be using the word impressive in the same argument as
But it's
this
the
score
right
should not
word.
be held higher in recognition. Because impressive
I
is
disagree. I think it's the
No,
right
because
word.
Music is too subjective to use that. That wasn't
Different
any other
things-
thing but
Everything's
music.
subjective to a point. I
no.
just
Luke,
the parts I'm
different
looking at, I
things
think are
impress
less
different
subjective.
people. That's impress
I
is
think it
not
makes
the
sense in
word
everything
to
but
say
music,
on a
is what I'm saying.
technical level. And I don't think
What?
you should use the word impress.
what?
can I just say something? I'm just really happy that everyone's turned against Luke.
I
I'm
know,
just
it's
sitting
just-
here.
I'm not
No,
turning
it's
against
Rocks
Luke.
versus the wold.
I
As
just
long
don't
as everyone
think
keeps
he,
yelling at Luke,
he
I'm fine.
phrases his
That's all-
argument
that's
well.
every episode. It's fine.
I know every single
against the
episode
world.
is me versus.
I give Luke
it's
credit.
either
By the way,
me-
I give Luke credit whenever I can. He's right sometimes. You guys don't listen. You guys don't
Because-
listen to him.
Can you tell me
like,
when he's right? I haven't.
No,
I
it's so
haven't
funny
figured
though.
it
Is
out yet.
it's either me versus one person or me versus everyone. No, but it's always whatever. It's fine. I mean, I don't know.
You said
I'm-
Ruji listens to these, right? Ruji.
Yes.
Okay, just wondering.
Why are you asking?
I agree. I
have to be
agree.
careful
with,
what I
I
say
agree
next.
with Luke.
I'm putting a marker down. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just making a joke because I knew she listened to it, so I was
You know,
just calling
she
her
listens
out.
already.
For what? For not listening to me?
No, I was just calling her out because I saw the message that she sent about me. So
Yeah, because she commented about Nick being like stupid or wrong, whatever. So he's like,
Oh,
"I'm
yeah,
not
oh,
sorry,"
yeah.
and now you know.
yeah,
I'm
no, I was
sorry.
just calling her out.
That's right. She's
Yeah.
right.
She's right.
I agree with Luke. I agree with Luke on the fact that Birdman score should not be held or recognized higher than other scores that are more complex and in Luke's argument, time and the way the process goes in. I will agree with that. What I do not agree with is that makes that score more, or that makes the score more impressive. I
Right.
don't agree with that.
What is it then?
I think it's just the
Because,
wrong word
Like,
to
what
use.
word is
Is
the
you
right
should-
word then?
It doesn't
It's
work
not-
with music, Luke. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
You're
'cause
using a
impressive,
concrete,
'cause, like-
I don't know. No, I don't.
measurement for dude. If you're using a concrete measurement for music and just doesn't work that way.
You
like
guys are
every
making
other
an-
thing, you're right.
Well,
In
'cause the
sports,
music-
you're right. In
we're not really
architecture,
talking
Why
about
is it
you're
different?
right.
With,
Because
why is it
Luke,
different with
Luke.
music?
Because we're not
Listen,
talking about the
broad.
music itself.
Why is it?
We're talking
why
about.
is it different
Because
with music?
I'll explain. This is a
explaining
really good
why it's
example.
different with
Wait, no, I
music.
got it. This is a really good example.
I can like
right?
someone doing one backflip more than someone doing 3 backflips, but
Yeah,
which
'cause of
one is
technical
technically
reasons.
more difficult?
The guy doing 3 backflips.
Exactly. So which
Yes.
one's more impressive?
Got to do
Well, we're not-
backflips.
That's
Boom.
not how.
Why is it not
That's
work
what
the
I'm
same
saying.
in
It
music?
applies to
That's not
everything.
how it
It's
works.
music.
Why does it
doesn't
work
apply
in
to
music?
music.
Why? What's the difference?
Because it's too broad.
Because
it's ears?
Okay, what goes,
It's
here's what
ears?
goes into a backflip.
That's the
Listen,
beauty of
Luke,
it.
I've been saying this multiple times. What
I'm
goes
not
into a
getting it,
backflip?
man. I don't know what
well,
you guys
listen
are
to me.
saying.
I will tell you. What goes into a backflip is certain movements. Like there's a couple ways to do a backflip. There's a few variations, but at the end of the day,
Like
it's the
your
same product.
fingers on a guitar. It's the same
shut up.
thing.
There's
No,
no,
but the
it's
thing
not.
is,
There's
like-
a million ways.
Okay, first
No
of all, like,
way,
think about this.
man.
Think about this. Think about
What are you
this. Think about this.
Okay.
Think about this. Hold on.
I'm listening.
All right. Say that a calligraphy person wrote, "My name is John and I like apples," and it looks beautiful. And then, like a 3-year-old, write out The Lord of the Rings in crayon. Right?
Go on.
That's the difference. Like, obviously, Lord of the Rings is a
It's
better
like,
story,
we're
but it
all
looks crafty. With
intrigued.
music, listen, music is not just the delivery on the instrument. It's also the story that's being told. It's the emotions that are being felt. It's like the movements that are being made. There's so much more to music than like one measurable thing that you can't compare music objectively to
I
other
get
songs.
that though. But now take
you-
two songs that
But
have
you
all of
keep comparing it to anything else. It doesn't apply to anything else. What you're saying is right about everything, but
hear
art.
me. Hear me, okay?
I agree.
You're like you're saying that you're saying that music is a bunch of different things. Sometimes it's the absence of notes. Sometimes it's the length of the notes. It's where the notes and when the notes and how those notes connect to other notes. Like it's all these complexities to
When the
what
notes,
makes
where
it
the notes, and how the notes.
interesting, right? Okay, so there's a lot of things. I get it. And so you're like, so the simple song might sound better than the complex song. Yeah. But now take two songs that have all the things you said. They both are emotional. They both connect to the person who's listening to them. They are beautiful. They're well written. Take two of those and then make one more difficult to play. So which one is more,
But
whatever word you guys want me to use instead of,
that doesn't
impressive?
work because if you make it more difficult to play, you change the song.
What?
The song is different now. It doesn't work like that.
Well, I'm not saying they're the same exact song, but they're the same level of all those things you were talking
I know.
about.
I'm saying the way you're saying doesn't make any sense because you have two different songs now
What?
that are different.
What?
It doesn't make sense.
I
Music
just
is
find
not measurable.
I find it really hard, Luke. Have been sitting here really trying to think in your shoes, and I find it really hard to hear a complex. I'm thinking of a complex piano piece. There's like, Beethoven and stuff. That's what I'm thinking. I'm picturing someone playing that, hearing that. Wow, that's really impressive. That's really good. Good, God, great. Then I'm hearing someone play like, a Katy Perry song or something simple like on piano, and I'm thinking, oh, that is great and impressive too. Sure, one is technically better, but I'm not more impressed just because it's technically better.
Right. And Luke, that's
why I'm kind of finding it hard to see your argument because, like, yeah, I can acknowledge that that's technically better, and she probably put in a lot more practice time than the other person did, and and I see all of that, but that doesn't make it more impressive to me.
So Luke, if I
It might
used,
to you, but it doesn't
if I-
to me.
let's put it this way: if I recorded a song with a $500 mic and I edited it myself and used some shitty software, but the drums sounded incredible. Like I was on point that day and the fills were on point and matches what the song needs, right? Even though the processing of it sounded, even though the song itself kind of turned out badly in the editing process, the music itself was awesome. And then let's say I have a really bad day on drums, but I use $10,000 worth of mic equipment and a professional guy in the studio. He can edit that thing to kingdom come, but it's going to sound like shit still, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like in that sense, right, I would be more impressed, or I assume any drummer, anyone really, would be more impressed with what I did with the $500 worth of equipment and the lack of editing.
Can
and
I
the
tell
lack of
you? Okay, I hear these are the same.
But does that make sense?
That does, but that's not the same. And here's why it's not the same. Okay? Take one where you play the drums insanely well. Okay?
Yes.
You, the musician, did insanely well. Okay? One musician. And then you mic'd it all up and the mics sounded bad. The mics weren't done very well. And then the organization around your recording wasn't done very well. And then the sound guy just kind of messed it all up so it sounds really crappy.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, take another setup where you play the same thing, or something very similar to it, that difficulty-wise and music-wise sounds about the same, and it's like you do a great job, and the sound guy does a great job, and the movie it goes in has got a good, meaningful message to it, and it connects to the music. Like, and you do all of those things on top of the original talent. When you look at the drummer in Birdman, you're looking at one talent. Okay? The guy, or two talents maybe. The guy who recorded it and the guy who played it. And they both did a good job. When you listen to like an extremely complicated orchestra of music, you're seeing a whole bunch of people that did insanely well that all had to work together, which is difficult. I know that like, if you're playing a live show, you can kind of mess up a little bit, but there's other musicians playing and you don't have to keep timing as well. Yeah, that's when you're playing live, but when you're actually recording, you can't make mistakes. And I just find that to be more impressive because it just seems like a bigger feat, a bigger challenge. And I'm sorry, I still don't know a better word to use than impressive.
I'm trying to separate, I guess, the music and the score and the feeling. And
do you think that the writing, like the notes that he hit in Birdman are better? You think the notes that he hit in Birdman are better than most of the notes in other scores?
I mean, it depends on the score.
Because that's fine. But I don't really agree, but I can see that point of view.
I think
but that's not really a point of view I'm arguing.
Side that I'm on.
I think the ambiance that they created and the message that they used with the drums, and I mean, they did do a lot of processing and editing with the drums, and they did, Antonio Sanchez did kind of go in with a mindset of what he wanted for the drums along with the director. And so there was a lot of effort put into it. However,
which is not the argument that I'm arguing against, just by the way. Like,
okay, good.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm sure it was difficult.
Right.
I just don't think it was as difficult as other things. It shouldn't be praised above other things like it is.
Because it's less difficult?
Because I don't think it's as... man, how does that not make sense? I don't understand how
you don't know how difficult it was for...
But you just said that, right?
If you watch a film where the acting... If you watch a movie where the acting is phenomenal, and then you watch a movie where the acting is boring, and I go, well, you can't judge it though because the characters that they were supposed to play were supposed to be boring. It's like, okay, fine, maybe it worked for the film, but it wasn't. I don't think it was as good.
But the quality of the acting was poor.
It was more difficult. It's like, with the guy, that guy was, so like you look at someone like Heath Ledger, and you compare his acting to someone who's a good actor who did a boring role. I don't know.
Heck, you can compare Jokers. Compare Jokers. Compare Jack Nicholson versus Heath Ledger. Who would you say is better?
You compare them and you're like, which one's more impressive? Yeah. Well, they're both artistically different. You can't compare it. It's like, come on.
Well,
who tackled something that was less that's rare?
You can compare aspects of it. Like, you can compare, like, his acting ability is greater than his. Like, his guitar playing ability is greater than his.
Though? What if his acting made me feel it's exactly the same as music?
I don't know about acting, but I'm saying that, like, you can compare two musicians' technical skills side by side. That's not in the question. The question is...
Yes, it is. That's part of it.
I don't disagree with you on that at all.
I agree.
So we do all kind of agree, but somehow we're not talking in the same direction.
But your basic premise is wrong. Because
no, it's not wrong.
You can say, listen, because you can compare like me versus like another guitar player, and we can play the same things. You can see who plays it more cleanly or whatever. But when you're writing a song, it's just so much different than that. If you're writing a song, performing a song, it's different. Like if we're both performing the exact same song, we play it the exact same way, and like he does it better than me, like he's just on beat more, then he's better. That's how that works. But when it comes to composition, there's so much more to it than the complexity of the song.
Okay, then let's say this: we're both making a film. And I make a film that's way more difficult than you.
Right.
Who's better?
It depends on tells a better story and how it all works together.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Subjective.
But
it's art.
And part of the way that the complexity, the difficulty, the challenge you took and either did or didn't do, there's a lot that goes into it. And I'm saying overall, Birdman, I almost said Drum Man. Birdman.
Drum Man's a better bird track.
Birdman would be more easy.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's less impressive.
Yes, it does.
It just doesn't. If it's easier for me to lift 1,000 pounds, it's still like crazy to lift 1,000 pounds. It's still impressive.
I don't know how to.
You should just say that the musicians put more work into that, and that makes it.
And that's more impressive to me.
More work. It is not when you say impressive. They're just more work went into that. So. I mean, I think you being impressed is like that's like just an opinion.
Yeah, I would say like if you say impressive to me.
People.
I mean, like, music, every single thing,
right? It's
anything
impressive
that has
to
to do with
not just
feelings
impressive.
And beauty and all that stuff is an opinion always.
Yes.
All of it.
But you're even
Music,
saying it's
every
objective.
single
I'm not
thing
saying-
about music is just an agreed upon mathematical opinion.
I'm not saying your point is an opinion. I'm saying you.
But then
saying
it's like,
you
so let's
being
get rid of the
impressed by
Grammys 'cause it's all
something is an
opinions.
opinion.
Sure, I don't
It
watch
is,
them anyway.
and opinions
Oh,
and
maybe.
politics.
I wouldn't mind that.
All right, so we'll get like it's
Boycott the Grammys.
it
Can that be
defeats
the
the whole
title of
point
this
of
episode?
reviewing anything.
No, reviews are fine because you're
No.
watching reviews to see if you like it. You're comparing art based on like some definable things. That's their prerogative. They can do whatever they want. I don't care.
Right, which is what
But
I'm
the
doing.
thing is, yeah,
Yes.
you can do it if you want to. I
But-
don't care what you do. I'm
But
saying
I'm
that
not
you like
wrong. I don't think.
you are
You're not
wrong.
wrong
You're half
because-
right.
You're half wrong, yeah. Because it's
'Cause-
like yes,
Be positive, Shane. He's
No.
half right.
No.
no. Because what you're
Glass
saying
half
is
full.
it's like yes.
Neither one of us is right, and we both just have opinions, or one of us is all right.
Oh no.
Cool too,
I
but
don't think
also
it's like
not to,
half-
like,
I don't think
me,
I'm
but
totally
everyone
agree
I
agrees
don't
with
think
me.
I'm half wrong.
I have the
on-
normal
I don't-
opinion.
I don't
I
think
totally
I'm half
think
wrong.
I'm right. I totally think I'm right.
I
I think
think
Luke's
I'm
been
right.
wrong the entire
I'm
time.
90, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to be nice, but I'm right.
Well, I think we all think
Luke's
we're right.
definitely
but
wrong.
you're like, it's okay. You're half wrong. No, I don't think I'm half wrong.
I mean, like
No,
you're
you're-
making good points, but
You're
like
all
I said,
wrong.
they just apply to everything but music, man. Like
I
you
don't know
can't
why.
compare-
What makes music different? That's what I don't get. Is like
Everything
music's
about
different.
music makes
What,
music
what,
different.
what?
dude.
Tell me
Music is-
specifically.
alright.
What's different about music and dancing?
I agree with
What's
this.
different about
Hold
music
Hold on,
and
wait.
acting?
Before, wait,
The
can I
thing
say
is-
my last thing? Wait. Can I say
Fight.
my last thing on
Go
this
ahead, Shane.
argument? Then I'll
Dying
stop
to
talking.
know.
You can say whatever.
I've been telling you. You haven't been listening.
So,
Fart
Luke,
nugget.
shoot.
I agree. Like I said, you can say yes. This score is better and more impressive on a technical level, an effort level, a whatever level than Birdman. But that doesn't make the score itself more impressive overall. Sure, it makes it more impressive in that category, yes, which you're right about that, which I've said the whole time, just for the record. But it doesn't make it overall a more impressive overall. And I think that's where, at least for me, that's where I lose you on that. I don't think it's just like, okay, that just makes it better just because of that reason. But on that scale and what the specific category you're talking about, then yes, I agree with you. That's why I think you're half right.
Okay, Michael, how
Yeah.
is music completely different than everything else?
Well, mainly art in general is different. It's like a lot
So
of things.
acting is not art.
No, I'm saying acting is art.
So
Art-
why
everything
is
that's-
music different from acting?
Because it is.
Why?
You do different things. There are different like things that go
What's
into
different about it?
I actually,
I don't
as an
know. I don't know.
act-
No,
No,
I
on
don't
a
know.
fundamental level,
professionally
what's
tra-
different
Luke,
about music?
Shut up.
As a professionally trained
okay.
actor, I
Go ahead,
don't
Luke.
think
Shane.
acting and music are comparable things. I side with Luke on that one. I think acting and music are not like
Yeah, they're not the same.
music is a lot.
No, I'm
music
saying
is,
they
is
are
its own
similar.
category.
I mean, no,
I mean,
you're.
I'm
you've
saying
said,
acting is
Michael,
also
you've
not-
said
No,
that
I'm saying you
music, I
judge
can't-
acting
I
on a
can't-
technical skill.
Go ahead,
Listen,
Luke. Go ahead.
you're saying that I can't do the same thing with music that I do with every other thing because it's different. And I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is music different?
Okay, let me tell you. First of all, when I said I compared acting and music earlier because we were talking about their technical skill. Like this actor is objectively like better at acting than this actor is, and that could be true. And this musician can be objectively better than another musician. But in art, in general, and music is just one thing of art that's different. All arts are different than each other. That's true. Painting involves color, like brush strokes, medium, lots of stuff. Music
they're
involves
technically different, but fundamentally, I don't think that they're different. And
And
that's what we're talking about.
fundamentally,
things.
art is not objective. Fundamentally, they all don't fall into this category. I think athletics, you're right. I think architecture, you're right. I think engineering, you're right. I think like there are some things that you can define.
But music, in a way,
and-
is sort of like an athletic in a way. It's like
it
like
is.
finger athletics. You know,
But the thing is, like there
Vocal
are
athletics.
also different aspects of music. There is technical skill, which is what you're talking about. There is like creativity. Like okay, so there's like I always put music. I rate musicians like this. There's technical skill. There's three aspects you're good at: technical skill, creativity, and flow. Okay, those are three like basic. Like if you narrow everything down, those are three aspects of music. Okay, technical skill is really the only thing you can like really objectively compare between two people. You can't tell how creative someone is just from one song. Like creativity is your ability to connect dots, and everyone connects dots different ways. Flow, like maybe you can say this guy's better at flowing than another guy, but if they're both equally good at flowing, there's no way to like how no one can really edge over the other person. Like it's just different. When you're playing a song, you're telling a story, you're creating a feeling, you're creating a groove people can dance to, you're creating a mood people can feel, you're creating an atmosphere people can exist in. Like all those things are different things that different kinds of songs do. So you can't compare them all the same. That's like if I like made like a toaster and I was like, well, this toaster is better than your iPhone because I can toast exactly as toasty as I want it every time. So yeah, my phone can send exactly what I want to text every time.
But I'm not comparing one little tiny aspect of Birdman to one tiny aspect of another movie. I'm comparing
that's the problem.
The
if you compare
whole
tiny
process
aspects,
overall.
Comparing tiny aspects makes more sense than comparing the whole product. The process of a big score is more impressive than the process of a small score. That does not make the big score
that's
objectively
part
more
of
impressive.
What I rate films on. Part is the story. Right. Part is it's like the delivery, the story, the acting, the editing, the directing, the music, the difficulty. Because if someone attempted something super difficult and then they failed a little bit, like maybe it wasn't quite perfect, and then someone attempted something very easy and did it super well, it's like it's hard to compare them. But I give a lot of points to the people that tried something difficult. Right. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Was hard.
That's good. Yeah, that's not wrong. And I think that applies to music too. Like if they try to play a really hard solo and they can't do it, then that's still impressive that they did it. But the song itself, the product, isn't as impressive because I don't know how else to explain it. The song itself is the song itself. The song is separate from everything that went into it. You can look at it that way. You're like, oh wow, like this guy wrote the song like while he was like half deaf. That's really impressive. Yeah, it is. But it doesn't make the song better or worse than another song, objectively. Especially in the different styles.
I agree with that point right there that you just made. Yeah.
That same argument is used for when someone paints like a giant painting and someone else just puts a chair.
Yeah,
and it's like they're both art.
And
they're both
modern art, right?
And we're like, damn it. Well, one is more
right.
Is better. And it's like, no, you can't compare because it's not the world of nothingness.
Right. And that's completely true.
So I'm like, no, there has to be something. There has to be something in terms of technicality that we can extract from it.
Why?
So that we can like compete things against each other. That's why it's like people are selling a white blank canvas with a dot for $1 million, and it's like I don't agree with that. And that's kind of the stance that's kind of getting paraded around in this whole thing because it's like, oh, you can't compare anything to anything. I'm like, well, yeah, I can.
You compare aspects
I can think something's more impressive. I think things, even if it's, I think something's more difficult.
You just can't say it's objective.
Yeah, in this case, you're comparing the
I don't know how you,
behind the scenes process behind
I don't know how you
these
don't
two
understand what I'm
scores.
saying. Everyone else understands what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying for like, okay, I get that everything is subjective, but there has to be something objective about this.
There is. There are
because there's a reason most people like the way a C chord sounds.
Yeah.
Because the mathematics behind it are more objective across the scope of people, right? Like we people tend to like this shape, this arrangement, this design.
There are
just the way it's like I could build a building that's all ugly, and it's like, oh, you can't say it's ugly. Well, it's objectively most people consider that ugly.
Right. But also if you look, but you can also look at like Western diatonic scales versus Eastern scales. They like Eastern.
Yeah, that's within their scope.
Right. Eastern scales are not as fun for Westerners to listen to, and vice versa.
But they're both mathematic. We just tend to be gravitating towards certain mathematic notes outside of their mathematics.
I feel like that adds to my point.
But they are technically impressive because they're patterns.
Right. But it's subjective how you like interpret those patterns. Like funk.
But the skill is not objective.
Music. Yeah, skill is objective. I'm not saying that's not. I'm saying the song
that is difficult is not objective. Or it's not subjective.
That's correct.
And that's more of where this comes from, the skill. The people are saying, man, I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing over and over again.
You are.
Then how do you
we're going in circles. I'm also doing the same thing. The thing I'm saying is that is right. That is right. That is not wrong.
I don't know. Like somehow I'm like I feel like I'm only saying one thing, and sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong. I don't.
No.
When I listen back to this podcast, I'm gonna be like, what did I change? What did I change?
All right, Luke. Let me try this. Let me try telling you what I think you're saying, and you tell me if I'm right. Okay. All right. So I think you're
Wrong.
saying, and that's why you're mad. So I think you're saying that a complex score that takes a lot of technical skill and a lot of production and stuff like that is more impressive than one that takes less technical skill or less musicians or less production because of the work that went into it and how difficult it was.
That's one part of the measurement, yes.
Right. And then the other thing you're saying is that now that score is objectively better than another score or objectively more impressive than another score that was less work put into it.
Well,
right?
what? Okay, because people don't
Is that
like.
what you're saying? Yes or no?
I'm going to say
not-
no. I'm
okay,
going to say
cool.
no just a little bit because I want to, like, part of this is me trying to figure out how to make it clear what I'm saying. And so instead of impressive, more entitled to praise. How about that? Where I think more people should give it attention because I think it deserves more attention as
That makes more
being
sense.
higher quality work overall.
Right.
But
That makes more sense.
the word I use for that is impressive because it deserves attention. It deserves to be recognized. People should notice it. I don't think that Birdman should get as much recognition and praise as it gets because I don't think it deserves as much
It's overrated.
recognition.
That's
and
fair. It
praise.
could be overrated. I don't know.
Overrated, sure. That's a
I
good
haven't heard
word.
it. But that's all different than everything you've been saying this whole time.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's different. But I think it might be a word you guys like better.
No, it was different.
It's the same word,
It's different.
man.
No, it's
How's it
not.
different?
I don't know.
Impressive deserves praise. What does impressive even mean?
Well, the thing is, you're
Good?
saying
It's
like
done well.
you're saying right now. You're saying because of the process, you should be like, do check out this process. This is sweet. The process is different than the product. You're correct about the process. You're correct about anything that's not art
I'm
related.
talking about both though.
But yeah, you can't, but it does
The
work with
process and the product.
But
The
you
products-
need to separate the two. That's the issue.
both. Yeah, the
You need
product's
to-
not
you need
objectively
to
better
the
than another
product can
product.
be
In
more
this case,
impressive
you-
because of the product. Case in point, the guy with no arms.
No, it's not.
No,
The product is more
isn't.
impressive because of the process.
No, it's not.
no.
I would
Okay,
be more
okay,
impressed.
take this. If I was
Okay,
gonna
okay.
buy,
Actually, you're right. You're right on that one.
if I was gonna buy, yeah, if I was gonna
That's
buy two
true.
houses. One was built with
if
one
I was
man.
listening to it without knowing how it was made, I wouldn't be as impressed with it.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Actually, that's a good point. Then, okay, I'll give you that because I know how difficult editing is.
I should have said
And
that.
That's a good
That's a
point.
good-
That's
that's a
actually I don't know if that's I'll succeed that one or whatever the word is. Because I know how to edit and I know how to write scores to a certain extent. Like I've written enough music and recorded enough music. I know from my point of view what I think is difficult. And so the process does influence me. All right, you guys win that a little bit. I don't know if you win the whole argument, but you win that point.
I'll take
I'll
that.
give you that one.
But yeah, I think like yeah, especially if you don't know what went into it. But even if you did, the product is still better or worse because of
that
what
is,
it is.
but that is like what I want to get at. You know, like, because I understand the process, I don't think it deserves as much praise. How about that? Like we spent this whole podcast trying to figure out how I need to word it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
makes sense. And
that's
you
what
can
I'll go
definitely say I definitely agree that you can say a specific work is overrated. Like I think Slash, the guitar player, is overrated. Everything he's done is overrated, I think. And
oh man.
that's an opinion. Like I could get into it, but I don't really
Jeez.
know that much about him. But like, it's my opinion. And
Okay.
looking at it, that's how it looks.
Yep.
Anyway,
Finishing up, we're gonna end this
That works.
episode.
and this
I
episode,
think. Yeah, because we're going for an hour.
Dude, we
We're done.
blew
So many
through
plans.
that.
I know. So
Jeez.
yeah, I'm just trying to say like this is gonna be the only thing we talk about because we just kept going.
all right.
I'm gonna have to listen back to this episode. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
to retrospect it a little bit.
we can do a tiny baby recap next
I
week
know
about it.
that's all this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a recap.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a
recap.
recap.
We'll save the stuff we want to talk about for another episode.
Okay.
So plugs. Shayne, you got really quiet. I hope you're still alive.
I said that was the last thing I was gonna say in this argument because it got really tired to me. But so yeah, you can check out the podcast that I host called the Pop Talk Podcast. We actually just did an interview with Christine Tate, and she is the founder actually of the 2019 Christian Readers and Authors Festival that I will also be performing at on March 9th, this Saturday. So if you are in the Hampton Roads area, you should definitely check that out because I'm performing and you can hear some music that I wrote that is really impressive on all skills that Luke would think is impressive. So, because a lot of
It's
effort
not
went into those.
impressive is the wrong word.
Yep, music is
Yes, it is.
subjective. Shayne,
But
music, it's
yeah,
just a suck
so you can follow us and check out that information on our Instagram page, which is pop_talk_. And then you can follow me on my Instagram at Mr. McCatty, which is MRMCCATTY. And yeah.
Cool.
Okay, Michael.
Hey, you can follow me on Instagram, Michael Dimas, MYKOLDIMAS. And people actually the past couple of days have been asking me why I spell it that way. It's because when I first made social media, my mom wouldn't let me use my real name. That's the story. And that was my name in Legend of Zelda. So last week, I said that I wasn't making music anymore. And then the next day, I recorded a song with my friend. So hopefully I'll have that coming out next month or so. So just keep a lookout on my Instagram. MYKOLDIMAS. Michael Dimas. That's it.
Woo. Nick.
Yo, my name is Nick, and you can follow me
also, add me on Nintendo Switch. My friend name is in my story. I want to play Super Smash Bros. With people. Go there.
Oh, wow.
That was the best interjection ever. It's like, oh, by the way, this is where you can find me on the Switch. My name's Nick, and you can find me at I Love Drummond. That's I Love Drummond with no G. On Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and best of all, Instagram.
Best of all.
Also, my tweets have been way less political lately. I've just been tweeting random things lately, and it's been really nice. I also unfollowed everyone with a blue check mark pretty much, except for like 5 people, and it's been nice. It's been so nice. But anyway, that's that. Also, Luke's wrong, so.
That was a bad time to say this because now it's my turn. Luke's not wrong. I win.
It's your podcast.
No, I really want to hear. Yeah, really, it's like, it's my podcast, it's my role.
You'll edit me out the entire conversation.
I just delete your
Take
whole
me
track.
out of context.
No, it's
Go
like
Fox News on me, dude.
there's a your track is sitting there and I just click and drag it into the trash. Oh, I don't need that anymore. You can follow me on Instagram at Luke Roxwold. That's where I'm posting all my videos and pictures and stuff like that. You can also follow our Instagram, which is WAITSB Podcast. That's where we announce everything, talk to you guys. It's a lot of fun. Go follow us over there. Also, like I said at the beginning, leave a review on iTunes by going to the app and searching We're All in the Same Boat, scrolling all the way to the bottom, and then hit 5 stars. That would be awesome. So, all right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Guys.
My voice is cracked.
We're going to do this next week, right?
You said the wrong words. I don't even know what you said.